Hey, welcome back to my non-objective opinion. It's been about a month since we had our last show. Today I'm here with the awesome live streamer, journalist, activist, PM Beers. So how are you doing today?
Hey now, good morning.
Good morning. So yeah, real quick, let's start off. Maybe tell anyone who doesn't know who you are and what you do, a little bit about you.
I never do that.
You never do what?
Like say who I am and what I
No, I
do.
don't mean personal information. I mean, what do you do when you're out there live streaming and your activism? What are you out there
No.
for? What do you
Okay.
believe
I
in?
just like when I meet people, hi, I'm Patty. I never say like PM beers or whatever. It's weird. I've been doing activism journalism live streaming since 2012. Um, I do a lot of streaming and media work in police accountability. Started off with Occupy and I've covered a lot of. See, now I'm all shy. I covered a lot of police brutality marches, fuck the police marches, all kinds of activism, everything. And I've done a lot with Black Lives Matter. And I probably forgot like 10,000 things. Someone, what they do?
Sorry, I was muted. Can you guys hear me? Because I'm hearing. I see Scotty in the chat said there's no volume.
Hi, Scotty, can you hear me?
And then he just said he's at the pro office. Oh, he said he's okay with here with the volume. Okay, so yeah, I guess we're good. Hey, Stewart's in the chat too. So
Hi,
yeah,
Stuart.
um, yeah, I followed you for years, and you're awesome. You're one of the inspirations. Like I tell people a lot, like you, Naui, and so many other live streamers, but you two are the ones out here that I usually followed more than most.
Who's the
Um,
other one?
Naui, Naui Salate. He's an indigenous dude. He's more.
I gotta check.
He's
I
got
gotta
it.
check him.
Yeah, he's secondary live streaming. He's more like I want to knock a Nazi out kind of dude.
Yeah, that's not the kind of person you want like everybody to know their name or
Well,
like.
he's not. He doesn't keep it a secret. He's the one we talk about a lot in the shows. Like he goes out there and he's like, they'll be like, go back to your country, you dirty Mexican or whatever they say, and then he's like, no, white boy, I'm indigenous. Go the fuck back to Europe. Who the fuck are you?
Awesome.
Yeah, he checks them and he does it all on film, so it's kind of like comical too because he's really smart how he comes back at him. But we're here to talk about you today and what you do. So, oh, thank you, Stuart. So we're loud and clear. I just tweeted out the link, so everyone should be able to be coming in. And if you know me, I'm slow, so it's gonna be a good interview, except when I'm talking. So,
Shut up.
what what got you into what got you into live streaming and going out there with the camera?
I was always fascinated with like the concept of live streaming. Like I don't know, like so many years, like 15 years ago, there was that Big Brother TV show. And when it first came out, it was really, really boring. But it was cool to watch like how they had like people in the house and there was cameras all over the house and they're filming them. And it was like less contrived when it first came out. It was kind of boring actually. So you just watch on your computer and you see what actually happened, and then you watch the produced show on CBS and it's like totally different. And like you see like how like they dramatize everything, they twist everything. So it was really like a cool concept to know like the difference between reality and what the media wants you to see. Now I sound all smart. The media wants you to believe like all these things that aren't even true, and that's just a TV show. That's just like drama on CBS. They're calling it reality, but like it's not, because they did all this like psychological twisting and made it look cool when it was really boring. So then so that was always really interesting to me about how like the media manipulates everything. And then whenever Occupy happened, I was really, really moved by watching the live streams in Zuccotti Park in New York. And that's the first time I'd ever seen like like activism live stream, and then you see, like, by watching activism live stream, you see like the reality of what's really happening, as opposed to what they show you in a TV news. And then in a TV news, when they talk about a protest, they only talk about like arrests, or they talk about a skirmish, or like, I forget the words, like when the police fight against the people, but it's really the police fighting the people, but the media like twists it all around. So, but then when you watch it on live stream and you see what really happened, and you realize that like these people are just like using chalk on the sidewalk, and the police are beating the shit out of them for like using chalk on the sidewalk. And
Yeah.
so it just became really apparent, like really quickly, like how live streaming is so essential to journalism, because most journalism is lies.
Yeah. So what was Occupy the first time you went out there filming? Or were you there just to protest and started filming?
So Occupy was my first protest of my entire life, and even like I was told, "Don't go, you'll get arrested."
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but I went because I thought it was revolution. So I wanted to
That's
be part
awesome.
of that. Like, it sounded really cool because, like, the summer before, like maybe 6 months before, the people in Wisconsin had like taken over the state government building, because that governor was really fucked up and doing all this fucked up shit. Wait, can I cuss?
Yeah, I told you could before the show. That was to avoid you saying, "Can I cuss?"
And I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so like I thought that's what they were gonna do in Washington D.C. So I thought that's what Occupy was gonna be. I thought they were gonna like take over the government building, because that's what it sounded like at first. So that sounded really cool. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, revolution, because that's the only thing that could fix anything, right?
Yeah, that's just awesome. Like, I didn't go for the protest, I went for a revolution.
I did. I was there for the revolution. So, but then like there's all these different roles that you could take in activism, right? And like I'm like this shy introverted person, so I'm not going to be out there like chanting whatever. I don't even know what the chants are, because I totally, that's not me at all, right? So I don't want to do that. And like all these, and then there's the people who cook the food, and like I don't want nothing to do with that. And so I had been inspired by someone at Occupy Wall Street at one of their general assemblies. Some woman, like, she got up and she started talking about how the media is like lying about them, and how we have to be the media. And that whole like be the media thing was just so inspiring. And I think like that's the first time like I ever thought like that was a possibility, that I could be the media. And I had like this little flip cam, like a little handheld video recorder that I had bought for like my art, to like
Yeah.
do, do like just to document some of my 3D work that was I forgot the word, but anyway.
For like a portfolio kind of thing. Just show your
Yeah, because I
artwork,
had
yeah.
some, like this really cool wax paper stuff that wasn't gonna last. Like it's ephemeral. So that was what I was looking for. So I had bought this little camera to document it. So I just started taking videos on my little flip cam, and even like I've looked back more recently at some of those videos, and they're so bad. It was horrible. Those videos are like 2 seconds long, and they're all shaky and crazy, and it was bad. But I just did it. I just started documenting everything from the beginning of Occupy. And like I had no concept of like live streaming from your phone at that time. So I was just every night going to the General Assemblies, taking like little short clips of like everybody's speeches, and then I would go home after that and like upload it all to YouTube. So like I have like thousands and thousands of videos archived on YouTube from that time. And then
Yeah, that's something you told me me the other day. That was a great idea. Like, if it, I was talking about storage for all my videos, how I wipe them all out. Like, I have hundreds and hundreds of police videos I never release because why? So I end up just deleting them after so long if the people involved don't need the tape. But then you said you could upload them to YouTube, store them as private, and it's like free storage for people who do live stream a lot and film a lot of
Yeah,
stuff, right?
don't tell YouTube I said so.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot of tips from you and at Occupy ISLA out there in the past
Uh-huh.
few weeks, like really valuable stuff. Um, and I think it's great when people who are doing the same thing, like in activism or live stream, can learn from people who've been there and been through it and done that. That's awesome to share knowledge down to the people doing what other people have done longer and are better at. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's how I learned. I was just watching a live stream in Oakland. Some live streamer was he was out there like in the line of rubber bullet fire, and he's yelling, "Does anybody have a battery for a droid?" And like I saw he was the app that he was streaming on, which is irrelevant at this time, so I won't even say. But like I knew what app he was streaming on. I knew like he was doing it from a cell phone. So like I just figured out like real quick, like, oh, like technically this is doable, right? This is like this isn't something that involves like a computer or technical knowledge or like anything, like anybody could do this. So that was like a breakthrough moment for me where I was like, okay, now I got to buy a smartphone. So like the minute I had money to buy a smartphone, I was out there live streaming.
That's awesome. So, yeah, like what tips would you give to somebody? Say somebody's out there and maybe they haven't filmed anything really like activism related or police, or maybe they've done a little bit, but what and want to do more. What tips would you give them?
Um,
I stumped you with that one. I just
that's such a hard question.
things that should
No, I'm
think
kidding. It's
about.
not a hard
Yeah,
question. It's an easy question. Like if you wanted to get started live streaming, I would say just do it first, and then like later, if you're gonna be doing it more or a lot, you're gonna have to start thinking about equipment. But because you need a lot of data service and you need a lot of battery. So if you're just gonna like live stream like for a minute or two, like you probably have enough. But like if you're gonna be doing a lot of live streaming, you need to have like backup batteries. You need to have like unlimited data service or something like that. Um, I have like a little Wi-Fi. It's cool.
yeah, that's something I actually learned that from you about battery packs. You had a video talking about it a long time ago, and
Yeah,
that's when I
actually,
went and bought
find it.
my battery chargers.
I bet I could find it and put it on Twitter right now.
But yeah, you were just going through all the supplies you had and what you used.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was awesome. A friend of mine produced that video, and he didn't want any credit at all for that video, and it was awesome.
yeah, Scotty's in here, and he's a cop blocker in Texas. He just got out of jail for he went to get answers for Sandra Bland's death and got arrested. He was in there for 3 years. He's saying, yeah, you're right. Portable battery packs, and they are cheap as well. And a portable hotspot is kind of what his advice is for people to get.
Yeah, right now the batteries are cheap, but like in 2012, it wasn't like that. And I was running around with the battery that was big enough to jump a car in my backpack.
Wow. Yeah, mine's like the same size as my phone, and I could charge my phone like 10 times with it. But it takes 8 or 9 hours to fully charge the charger. But
Oh wow, that's crazy.
but it's good for like 2 days. Like at the camp, I mean, I didn't even charge it for 2 days, and like we charged everyone's phone off of it. It's a
That's
cheap.
awesome that
I I
you'll
got
do
it on
that.
sale for like $19. It's called Rev Brand. It's like some off-brand thing. But
Cool. Like I found some for like $10. They're pretty reasonable. Oh shit. Sorry, the video played. I found it, the video.
oh, cool. So when we were going through your bag and talking about all this stuff.
Yeah, it's my what's in my purse. Like
Oh, okay.
that's a twist on that, right?
Yeah, because with the photographers, they do what's in your bag, like Digital Rev TV and all that. A couple other people like, what's in your bag?
I've never even seen that. I've only like that's the only context I have is what's in your purse, and people like that's such a lame. Like I don't care what's in your purse.
Oh, I thought that's where you got it from because they yeah
Yeah,
they always go to these photographers that they just happen upon across the street, these famous photographers, and be like, "What's in your bag?" And they have all their equipment there and open it up and talk about it.
yeah. I don't know. I've always had the shittiest equipment, but like it works.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You don't really need much. I don't. I mean, I just kept getting more stuff because I know that like I needed for because I'm usually messing with the police more than protest because I always have to deal with them whether there's a protest or not. So
Yeah,
I got a body camera first. I figured that was just for my safety, and sometimes I'd even try to hide it, like in my jet, just so they wouldn't even know I had it. But then when they
yeah,
seen it, I seen how nervous it made them. Like, you don't need it. We have body cameras. So yeah, I have one too. So what? And it would just make them nervous. And I said, what if I get a bigger camera? So then I found they came out with this really cheap Canon DSLR, the one I have over there. It's like it's for a DSLR, it's like the best, least expensive one I found that could do good video and stuff. I put that in their face. They're terrified. They let people go. They want to, they don't want to look at it. They're poking each other like, watch out, watch out, watch out. I don't know why the size of the camera matters with them, but it seems to. The more cameras and the bigger the cameras, the more afraid of me they seem to be, and I'd rather have them afraid of me than me afraid of them.
yeah, exactly. But like it's true. Like the big lens is intimidating.
Yeah, but I mean, I before that I had my phone. Like I've even had a BlackBerry when I first started. I didn't even turn it sideways. I just held it straight up. But I was
But
trying
that
to.
don't scare nobody, right?
No, I got flipped into a flower bed and beaten, and my phone tossed. And yeah, they don't care.
Wow.
But no, there's
Yeah,
been
carry
times.
the big camera.
But there's been times with the phone that they're scared of a phone too. And I've seen other people do that where they get nervous because I think nowadays they understand people could be live streaming too.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would help me to just tell them, "Hey, I'm live streaming, and LAPD watches my live stream." So it's
Yeah,
kind of
no,
like, "Hey, your bosses are working," and I'm saying it like I mean it because it's true.
yeah, that's awesome. So live streaming is not all fun and games either. You've been like arrested and been put through court cases and charged with all kinds of crazy stuff just for filming, right?
Yeah, isn't that fun? Woohoo!
You
No,
want to talk? You want to talk about some of that real quick?
okay. Um, yeah. Sorry. No, the first time I got arrested was in Fullerton after the Kelly Thomas trial verdict, not guilty, and the cops were like, no consequence for, or I don't know what it was, no indictment or not guilty or whatever it was. I think it was a trial. I wasn't down there, but like my friends from In League Press live down in Orange County, and they're awesome. Um, and then I guess the weekend after that, they were planning like a peaceful protest. And then I guess like not everyone agreed on like how they wanted to protest. So the people who came to protest, they just protested the way that they wanted to. Because obviously standing on the corner waving a sign didn't do shit, right?
Yeah,
So some people were there, and I guess some like traffic cones got moved around. Some traffic got like diverted. Some people were moving traffic cones around to like divert traffic, and people were directing traffic to go in different directions. And I guess like the police didn't like that because only they that's we're taking the fun away from them, right? That's their fun to direct traffic, I guess. I don't know. So then there were marches. There were marches in the street. I don't know if that was planned or not. But then, even after the planned march, there was like more marches that weren't planned. Um, and I guess at some point, like people I'd never met before, didn't know existed in the world. Somebody like spray painted on a bar. There was a bar called the Sly Bar in Fullerton, and the waitress in the bar had called the police on Kelly Thomas. Kelly Thomas was he was he lived out on the street. I guess his parents said that was his choice, and he had schizophrenia, and he's the guy who got beaten and killed by the cops. But like
Yeah,
the
can
reason
I?
the cops came is because the waitress in the Sly Bar called the cops. So there was a march, and then somebody like spray painted black spray paint on the Sly Bar window.
Yeah,
And then at some point, we were on the other side of the Sly Bar where the patio was, and somebody like threw some chairs and stuff. And so I guess like now it's a riot. But like this happened, and but they didn't declare a riot at that point, right? And then what else had happened? Um,
yeah. Just real quick, we said this a while back when we talked about Kelly Thomas and police before on one of our shows, but Kelly Thomas was a white son of a cop.
yes.
So just know nobody's safe from this police brutality. That's all I wanted to bring up right there, real quick.
So some things happened that I didn't know happened by people I didn't know existed, and therefore it's a riot, right? And then like hours later, there's some kids. I don't know, they're not kids, they're adults, but they're like sitting in the street, and they're blocking the street, and they're sitting in the street, and there was a dispersal order. Actually, earlier in the day, there was a dispersal order, right? And then when that dispersal order happened, everybody left and started marching around downtown Fullerton. And then later, people were sitting in the street, and I was like, mostly at this point after when that happened, I was mostly just on the sidewalk, just like live streaming. And then at some point, like I realized all the mainstream media was gone, and the only people like live streaming at that point were my friend from In League Press. He was live streaming up at the line of the cops, kind of giving the cops shit and being funny. He was hilarious. And then I was like more to the back live streaming, and then it seemed like it was over. So everybody had left, and it seemed like it was over. And we went back to the spot called Kelly's Corner, where people would congregate, and like that's the spot where Kelly was killed, and there's like like an altar there and like all this stuff to honor him. So we were there, and like we were gonna eat some food. Like people were bringing food to share with everyone, and we're just like hanging out, and nothing is happening. And then like the cops, like suddenly, like my friend yelled cops or something, and then he started running, and then a second later, like they're brutally arresting him, and I'm filming it, like my friend getting brutally arrested. And then one of the cops goes, who's next? And then another cop goes, black hat. And then like I pulled off my hat really quick and started running. And like I never thought I would run. Like never in my life have I ever thought I'm gonna run from a cop, right? So then he goes, ma'am, stop. And I'm like, fuck, I can't keep running because like that's another charge, right?
Yeah.
So I just stop, and like he arrests me, and I don't, yeah.
So what happened?
So that was it. Then I went to jail, and then some crazy things happened after that. Um, we were there was like 15 or 16 people. There was 15 people. No, there was 14 people arrested that day. My friend from In League Press is a very good runner. There's a really nice picture of him like running like the wind. So he didn't get arrested that day, but he did get arrested like a couple months later, and we went on trial together, and that was awesome. Now I'm skipping ahead. So but this part's important here. Some of the people who got arrested, they got released. I don't know why, but they decided, they put us in Fullerton jail, but then they decided that we were going to go to county, so they're going to take us to Santa Ana. And they put the guys. It was mostly guys. There was one woman who she had been pushed by a reporter and she slapped the reporter. So it was me and her. I'm happy like neither one of us was alone because that would have sucked.
Yeah.
So they put the guys in the back of the van, and then she and I got like in the middle part of the van. And the guys were like all like excited to be together and happy, and like we all met each other because some people had like a mask on their face or bandanas or stuff. So like we like met each other in the van, and the guys were like rocking the van. They were rocking the van back and forth instead of like calming us down. Instead of like de-escalating the situation, the cop, the Fullerton cop, he said, when you get to the jail, there's 12 sheriffs waiting to smash your fucking faces in. Like, he said it like he meant it, right? And, like, he could have been, like, bluffing or whatever, but, like, when we got to the jail, it didn't feel that way.
Yeah, because you were protesting them. The protest was about them and their brutality.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to be booked into the jail, and we're all in the same room, the guys and us. We're all in the same room, and we're sitting on this line of benches, and like our faces, and behind us is all these sheriffs, and like they brought out more sheriffs than they needed at that time, right? Because how many sheriffs do you need to like watch people in a locked room that are handcuffed? So there's like maybe 12 sheriffs behind us, and like they're like posturing and like their like energy and their body language and everything is like, and I'm not allowed to turn and look at them, but like fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway, right? So I'm like, oh god, maybe they are gonna smash our fucking faces in. So I'm like, okay, so I gotta calm everybody down, right? Because nobody else here is gonna calm everybody down. And like, I'm never gonna be the leader unless I have to, but like at that moment I had to. So I just like yelled as loud as I could, like, because I wanted everyone in the building to hear me. I yelled, there's a journalist, there's an international journalist in here, and if you touch any one of us, the whole world will know.
Did that make a difference?
And I meant it because I was an international journalist, like I have been. They calmed down. Like, they calmed down. Like, they just all calmed down.
Oh, cool. Yeah, police are terrified of journalists, especially if they're not the city. Because don't you think the city journalists are there to make the city? I mean, the network journalists are there to make the city and the police look good above all, pretty much.
Because their PR department.
Yeah. So that's why it's important to have people like you out there filming all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, like, that's basically why I got arrested, because they're not going to do their job. Because, like, I had, like, this ethical dilemma. Like, there's a dispersal order. The police told me to leave, right? But, like, the only media here is me and my friend. That's it. And, like, if one of us leaves, then we're not going to cover the whole thing, right? So I have to stay because what if these killer cops like hurt these people? Nobody's gonna know, right?
Yeah.
So like I have this duty, like this sacred duty, like I have to do this.
Yeah, that's bravery. So oh, go ahead.
Anyway, like going on trial is a privilege. Like, most people cannot go on trial. Most people, like, have jobs, and you'll lose your job if you, like, take a couple weeks off, or you take all these days off to go to all these court dates and stuff. My trial took me 2 weeks. There's no way, like, if I had, like, a regular, normal people job, there's no way I could have taken 2 weeks. And, like, my friend who went on trial with me, like, he had some, like, really awesome boss and some really awesome work situations. So he was, like, really privileged to go on trial. But, like, I felt like, because me, like, the way I look, like, I can dye my hair brown and, like, look like a soccer mom, and, like, everyone will think, like, oh, she's so sweet and innocent, she didn't do anything wrong. So I have, like, all this privilege that puts me at an advantage. But then also by me going on trial, like, because they put us in like two different groups, like the like regular group and the super subversive bad guy group, and I was like the super subversive bad guy leader group. Like, I'm this dangerous person. I was the leader or whatever, which to me is like ridiculously funny because most of the time I will not, like, nobody, even if I try to be the leader, like, people don't listen to me, right? So I'm a leader. That's like hilariously funny, right? So anyway, yeah, so I went on trial, and then all these other people got their charges dropped because they couldn't prosecute me because they couldn't, they got a hung jury. So they couldn't win against me because, like, somebody on the jury is just like, no, like, I'm not, this is against my principles. Like, they didn't do anything wrong.
That's
And
lucky.
that's jury nullification. That's what happened there because, like, technically, yeah, we broke the law, maybe. I don't know, because there's a lot of, like, fuzzy parts of the law, so I don't even know if I broke the law or not. This is why you talk to a lawyer and you don't talk to the police, because the police don't know the law, but your lawyer does. And the laws, like, some laws are fuzzy, so you don't even know. Did you break the law or not? You don't even really know.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, so
Do,
anyway,
do,
so it was good that I went on trial because, like, all these other people got their charges dropped, and that's awesome. Sorry.
do the police now or look at you as a journalist more and like know who you are, or are they still dicks to you?
I don't think they all ever look at me as a journalist. I think they look at me as a member of Black Lives Matter or a member of whatever they decide I'm a member of, even though, like, I'm not a member of any activist group other than media groups.
Yeah.
But they don't, like, I don't think I'd ever get a press pass to go inside LAPD.
Yeah.
That probably, I have this criminal history now, right? Even though, like, I've never been found guilty of anything.
Does that still stay on your record and affect you? I know it's on the police, like it's but like if you go back to court they won't bring that up, will they? For something else?
I don't think in, like, a trial they could because it was not guilty, but, like, if somebody, like, looks up my criminal record, there's, like, I was arrested twice.
Oh, I
It says
see.
so. So
Yeah.
I guess, like, I would have to pay a lawyer a lot of money to, like, get that taken off. And I guess that's possible, but, like, that's a luxury that I don't have.
Yeah, so when you go out there, um, probably at first it was different, but now I guess are you scared when you go out there to deal with the police? Are you pretty confident now? You know it's going to happen before it happens, for the most part, if nothing crazy goes on, or like how do you? Because I know a lot of people say it's scary to film the police. It's scary to go out there and put a camera in people's faces.
I would say both. Like, both, it's scary, and also it's less scary because I've done it so many times. And plus, like, I have so much experience with cops, and, like, so every case, like, every time is different, but, like, I pretty much know, like, how LAPD is going to behave, and I kind of can predict their behavior. And I don't know if things are going to change with this new police chief because, like, the words, like, they use all these words, but, like, words don't mean shit to me. So it's still, like, to be seen what's going to happen. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah. I don't. They all talk good at first, especially when the department's under a lot of scrutiny. For years,
and
they've always done
and
that.
it is, and they are under a lot of scrutiny because they just keep fucking up and fucking up and fucking up. So we'll see. But this new police chief, he's a killer cop. Like, he's killed people, so, like, he has empathy. He knows how it feels.
He
For
knows.
the for,
He knows how to
he
be.
has empathy. He has empathy for the killer cops
Yeah, I was gonna
because
say
he is.
he has empathy for
Yeah.
the poor cops who had to kill someone and give each other a high five.
Nah, it ain't about had to. That's a lie.
No, that's why I put the high five right after that.
Yeah.
It's just sarcasm. But no, that yeah, you can't. You're gonna put a killer in charge of the killingest police force in the country, and I don't think it's gonna turn out so hot. But that's what they always do. And even if it's not a killer up in there, it's somebody who supports whatever the hell they do.
Yeah,
So,
like somebody asked me, like, would LAPD do blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, they'll do whatever they want to do.
oh yeah, do you know Alex Salazar?
Maybe I
Um,
don't.
yeah, he was an ex-cop from Rampart way back in the. We had him on the show before. The stuff he tells us about what goes on in these police departments, and man, gangbangers are angels and saints compared to these cops. It's crazy.
They are a gang though.
Yeah, they're the biggest gang in the world. I mean, in the country. But I'm saying
They're second biggest in LA.
they're what?
Well, LA's like the second. LAPD's the second biggest gang.
Yeah, you're not right.
NYPD's bigger. So
I just meant the police, law enforcement in general is the biggest gang in the country.
yeah, they are definitely.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the stuff he talks about is like, yeah, gangsters don't have shit on these police. They're crooked, corrupt, evil, murderous. They're terrorists. That's the way I look at them.
Yeah, I think like some like individual human beings like decide that they want to become a police officer, and like I think like they go into it with good intentions. They're a good person, they're going to do good, and then I think like once you see and experience what power is like, that changes you.
Yeah, that's exactly what Alex said. He said he went in there with the best intentions. He was going to help everybody and do all good, and then his first day on the job, he's hearing racist stuff and learning to be a white supremacist killer, basically. You know what I mean?
Wait, wasn't his name like he's
He said,
named?
yeah, he said, even though he was Latino, he felt like he was white and he was part of that group and he supported all that stuff.
Gotta feel a little bit of that privilege. That privilege is nice.
Yeah, but it doesn't help if they're training you to be all corrupt on top of it, you know?
Yeah, power feels good though, doesn't it?
I don't know. I never had any. Go ask a cop or a politician. Um,
uh, well, it's nice for me, like when I used to get pulled over by cops and they would like call me ma'am, they would apologize, they'd give me fewer tickets than they could have. Like, that's nice.
yeah, that was white privilege, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless it was because they were scared of you with the camera.
No,
So,
like
oh,
I
okay.
look so sweet and innocent and like, because like that's sweet and innocent is white.
Yeah, because I noticed, like I said before, like the cops that know me now, when they see me with a backpack, they're like, dog, I could tell. They're like, we just ain't gonna fuck with him. We're just gonna go to another block where he's not at, because we're gonna have all these damn cameras in our face. He's gonna be up in our face. It's gonna be annoying, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever it
Yeah,
is, it makes them
that,
leave and they
that's
think
that's
twice.
one thing. That's one thing that a lot of people don't realize about filming the cops. Like, if the cops are like, "You gotta step back," you gotta step back. Like, they can't tell you not to film them, but they can tell you where you could stand.
Within reason.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could fight it out in the courtroom later, but
I mean, I've had them tell me stupid stuff like you got to go all the way down to the end of the corner. Hell no. I walk over here where it's clear and all. But what I do too is I'll aim my camera where I'm at. Like, there's no way in hell I'm interfering any which way with this stupid pig right here, or whatever. You know what I mean? There's no way. I'll just talk to
yeah.
myself because I'm not even streaming most of the time. I'm just recording just in case something goes on and the person needs a video. So
Uh,
yeah, I'm just
yeah.
talking like I'm over here now. I'm protecting myself. I'm way the hell over here. Look, he's over here. I'm over here. So I kind of try to document everything
It's
a lot.
probably best to like when you're filming the cops. It's probably best to like not talk to the cops at all.
Yeah, I gave that advice. I just don't follow my own advice because I'm a fucking
I
idiot.
know.
But
So I'm
yeah,
gonna tell you, like, if you're filming the cops, don't talk to them.
if you're not filming the cops, don't talk to them.
If you're walking in the park on a beautiful day, don't talk to them.
Yeah, there's no reason you should ever talk to the police.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, Scotty's in the chat right now telling a lot of what's been going on with him. I'm gonna have Scotty on this same show I don't know. We haven't scheduled it yet, but I'm assuming it's this week or next week. It's up to you, Scotty. So, Scotty, just DM me when you're ready. I sent you a DM about it. So, yeah, Scotty will be on. It'll be another thing about cop watching and probably some other stuff different than this. Because Scotty's situation is obviously a little way different than yours. Um, so yeah, where do you draw the line? I mean, when are you an activist and when are you a journalist and when are you a live streamer? Like, what does it change, or are you always just all in one, or do you wear like
It
different
doesn't.
hats?
It, I I've never like. Well, I can't say never, but I've rarely ever like held a protest sign or like said a protest march. I don't consider myself at all a protester, and like some um, newspaper said like protesters not guilty or whatever, and that, like I even contacted the guy. I'm like, that's not a protester. You need to change that. But I'm always an activist, and there's always bias, and all journalism is biased. And like my buddy, he's not my buddy, but Glenn Greenwald, like the awesome Glenn Greenwald, like he said that, and he talks about journalism and and bias and stuff, and how like everybody has it, and like we should just admit that we're biased because everybody's biased, and people were like, no, I'm in the center. Well, the center is a bias, right? And if you're saying that you're not biased, you're lying to somebody, like yourself or everyone, definitely. But activism comes first, and like it's great to live stream, but like not everything should be live streamed, and not everyone should be filmed. And like there's a lot of like journalists who are journalists first, and you're a journalist first and not an activist if you're one of those people who thinks you have a right to film anyone at any time. And like that's, to me, that's not okay, that's not ethical, and that's not like helping make the world a better place.
I agree. Yeah, I'm only an activist. I just happen to have a camera, but I lie to the
Mm-hmm.
police sometimes. I'm like, I'm a journalist, or I'm live
but you
streaming when
are
I'm
but you
not.
are a journalist
But it makes them more nervous.
if you say you're a journalist.
Or if I say I'm live streaming when I'm not, and different things like that. I've learned little words. Well, I
Yeah,
can
I mean,
control them more with things.
I've had like a dead like a dead battery, and my camera won't work, and I've faked like I've live streamed like
I chased a
sometimes.
I chased a
Yeah.
security guard that didn't want to be filmed, and I had my lens cap on before. I'm like, you dumb
Oh
fuck!
God,
All you got to do is turn around and look at my camera. I'm not even filming you. And he was like, "Don't film
that's
me running
hilarious.
with his
That's
hands all up."
hilarious. But before I forget, I have an article that I wrote about. I'm gonna tweet it right now. Live stream and activism, security culture.
Oh, awesome!
Because someone there was a group called We Cop Watch, and like a couple years ago they put out this article, all live streamers are snitches, like live stream serves the state. And so I thought that was really bullshit, the whole article. But like they brought up good concerns, like there's definitely like security culture and respect, like just basic human respect, that as a live streamer, that you should be aware of. And it kind of talks about like different ways of like handling different situations. Like there's the mute button, like use it, I mean, if you have one.
That's important for me right there to learn. I do. I fuck up so much.
Yeah, I mean, because when I was first live streaming, like if I'm like talking about my opinion or my thoughts or whatever, and like somebody disagreed with me, and then like they're gonna start shit talking me because like I said like the wrong thing, or like I don't know, maybe I used the wrong pronoun or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I do. I don't know. I'm conflicted sometimes because as a person who has in the past many times needed to cover up my face to do stuff, uh, when you're at a big protest or something where there's police all over, there's police filming you. There's sometimes other media filming you. There's cameras on buildings all around you. You know, and if you're not masked up going there, you're already on the feds, the police, everyone else's videos, film, cameras, whatever. But then they always seem to
Yeah,
get mad at
no,
me, like, why are you around here filming with us?
and the
I'm ready to
surveillance
fight
that
these fools with
do.
you. What are you talking about? I got a camera. Who cares? You're on 20,000 cameras. That's on you. Mask up before you come. But they never seem to understand that. And that's a pet peeve of mine because I don't like to. I don't think that's on me. I don't think that's on the people out there because they're so. Why don't they go yell at the police? Turn your cameras off till I'm masked up. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and I was gonna add to that, and I blanked out.
Oh, I was waiting for you.
Sorry, I'm waiting for the thought, and it's not coming back.
But yeah, I just give this advice while you're remembering that. Just like mask up before you get there. Park somewhere far away, mask up, and then walk. Pay attention where the cameras are around you because they can trace that shit all the way back to you parking your car or getting off a bus or whatever.
I found it. It's the surveillance that they're doing on us is really intense. And I wish I still had the article, but like there was a person who had only gone to a couple of protests, and she got her I don't know if it was her FBI file or her file from the local police department, or she FOIA'd something, right?
Yeah,
She just and they were following her, like they had her name, and like they had photos of her like going to get a frozen yogurt with another activist, and like they had followed her home, and like they had followed her like all these places, and they had like all the locations and times and pictures where she was, and she's just somebody who just went to a couple of protests. Like we're all being surveilled. We're all like, I mean, I'd love to see like my file. Like it's probably pretty thick, and I'm proud of it.
they blatantly followed me and some people I knew before. I mean, like
Yeah,
like like all the way, the parking lots in downtown, not but by the city hall on the other side where a lot of stuff happens by the park. There's like these little parking lots for like $8 or $10 over there. Man, they were in there and followed us out of the parking lot, like in the little FBI trucks and all that. They don't care. I don't know. Maybe they wanted us to know. We already saw them. It wasn't like they were all around the protest watching us already. But yeah, I don't know what all that was about. I think it was just intimidation. But if she didn't know, that was just, I don't understand that. I think they just, yeah, like you said, if they're following someone that only went to a couple protests, they're following a lot of people all the time. And we're paying
mm-hmm,
for those resources just to follow
mm-hmm.
people around. That's crazy.
And like, what's the worst thing? Like, my worst crime, like, is probably like conspiracy to jaywalk.
Conspiracy to jaywalk? You didn't even jaywalk yourself.
I mean, I've been like a supplier of subversive art supplies, like chalk.
Yeah, I saw you passing out the chalk. Yeah.
Oh shit! They used to arrest people for chalking on the sidewalk. LAPD, like there was a whole riot. LAPD rioted over the chalk.
Yeah, I remember something about the chalk a while back, but yeah, there was this big deal. But people have always chalked on the sidewalk, and if they, I feel like if they say chalk is illegal, we got spray cans. Will come with that.
There was a chalk riot in the rain. Is that crazy? It was a rainy, like it was like drizzling that day, and it was in the summer, like in 2012. There had been all these arrests in Occupy for chalking, and like finally an arrest. They're like hurting people over chalk.
Wow.
So somebody brought a big bucket of chalk, and they went to Art Walk in like July 2012, and they just got on a megaphone and like told people about they were going on the megaphone talking about all the arrests for chalk, and when somebody would walk up they would hand them a piece of chalk. Would you like a piece of chalk? And like, did you know that people get arrested for riding on the sidewalk with chalk? And like everybody walking by is like just drunk people at Art Walk. Nah, nobody would get arrested for riding with chalk. And so they start like riding with their chalk, and then LAPD just immediately starts these violent arrests. And like there was 15 arrests that night, and a lot of them were really violent. And most of the people who got arrested for chalk, they were not even from Occupy at all. They were just random people at Art Walk. And then when you start doing all these violent arrests in front of this big crowd, like people are gonna get agitated. And like I always say, and I've written articles, like every riot except for white riots are caused by police. And LAPD definitely caused that riot that night. And like the worst thing like the people did was like go in the street, yell, chant, and like at some point maybe a bottle was thrown. That was it. Like as far as the people. But like LAPD came out with like rubber bullets, and like they're shooting rubber bullets at people like over chalk.
Chalk is dangerous.
It's very subversive. Like,
Man, that's insane though. Yeah, I mean they don't care. They just find stuff to attack activists for. Little stupid things, and that's across the whole country. If you make noise or you're doing something, they'll find any infraction to try to get
well,
people with.
if you're a threat, like if you're a threat to anything, like
Well, I don't know
because
because
we were exposing like Bank of America and like how they stole people's houses. Like we were a threat to capitalism.
yeah. Yeah, the more of a threat, obviously, the more. But like you said, that woman that went to a couple marches, they're following her around all over the place, taking pictures. It's not a violent arrest, but it's still intrusive and invasive. And
Creepy as fuck.
yeah,
Imagine if some random guy did that, that would be like stalker shit.
it was some random guys probably.
Yeah.
They just happen to have badges.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Now you're creeping me out.
I'm creeping you out. You
Like
told the story.
I guess, but now you put it in the stalker context. I did that, didn't I?
Well, I mean, what are they doing? They're stalking people. If they're following them around, taking pictures of them everywhere, monitoring everywhere they're going. I mean, who knows what they got into her phone or her computer or her car, so they could just watch her when they're not even there.
Yeah.
Oh, she's over here, she's over here, she's over here. That's insane.
Yeah, that's creepy. Like that could happen too. I've seen I saw some documentary of a guy who he like hacked the phone so that like it would film everything remotely, and he like left his phone and somebody stole his phone, and then like he checked, and like he's watching this guy who has the phone, and he's watching everything he does.
Wow.
And he made a documentary about it, and like I watched the documentary. It was creepy.
Well, I mean, the dude stole his phone, so like, if he didn't wipe it clean or
Well,
do
like
something.
but he wanted somebody to steal it, and
Oh, I thought it was like a security thing, and he just made him
no,
like,
it was like a social experiment or something that he did. Like I don't know if he was just testing the technology, or he wanted to make a documentary, or maybe he was creepy. I don't
oh,
know.
I see. Wow. Oh, I thought someone stole his phone and he just accessed it so he could watch what they were doing.
No, he set it up. Like he wanted somebody to steal it so he could like do whatever he was gonna do.
Tim creeps out guest. That's a first. No,
Huh?
I don't think so. I think it's just the other people are more polite.
I just asked me who's polite.
No, she said Tim creeps out guest. That's a first. I said it's probably not. Other people just didn't tell me on the air. Mobile phones are scary when you get down to it.
Yes.
That's what Stuart just said. So yeah, that's
You're right, Stuart.
yeah, because even the apps, everything. We did a show about security with Seven a while back. If you guys go through, you could probably find it. He talks about how to be like just really basic stuff about your phone and your computer to keep them secure. Stuart, you might be well beyond that, so I don't know, but check it out if you haven't already heard it. So where were we here? I just had to go to the chat. We were talking about creepy people stalking on people's phones and stuff. So yeah, I mean the surveillance is insane. It's like at the Occupy camp. They're they're watching from every angle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think some of the people there don't realize that sometimes.
Yeah, I think, well,
I think
it's
because
really,
they get
it's
used to being there.
frustrating because
Yeah.
like they're new activists and they're like they know they're doing something good for the world and like they're full with all this like enthusiasm and they don't know like they that's the thing about like you don't know what you don't know and like all these people who are seasoned activists have been through like all this shit and I've been through so much shit and like I want to tell you like hey you know you're a little misguided and like maybe maybe you're wrong and like but how do you tell someone but like I don't know it's like when an adult tries to tell a teenager like they're wrong and the teenager's like no I'm right and like there's certain things you can't teach somebody.
Has to learn to experience, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I see that all the time though. But like everywhere, the big marches to small occupations to a couple activists on a street corner. Um, Even with me, sometimes you just get so used to being where you're at for a few hours or a few days in their case or weeks in their case that you're like you just kind of sometimes it slips your mind for a second. You're constantly being monitored, constantly being watched, constantly being recorded, and their equipment is awesome.
Yeah.
You know.
And the police are not your friends.
Yeah, the police. There's always people at, especially those big protests, thanking cops, hugging cops. Um, I hate that. I, I've talked about that so much. God dang, trash trucks right behind me outside. I don't know. So yeah, if you could hear that, they're taking the trash away. To anybody listening, that's what all that damn noise is. Um, so yeah, I guess we're about at the hour mark almost, or do we start late? So we're close. Anything else you think we missed, or we should be said, or you want to talk about, or go over?
I mean, there's probably like 1,000 things.
All right, let's start number one.
Don't talk to cops.
Yeah, don't talk to cops is really important. So, um, how do you we? I think we did bring up the fear thing. How do you overcome the fear when you're out there the first few times for people who haven't?
I think sometimes like anger is like stronger than fear. I think because like well throughout like my whole life there's always been a theme of like overcoming phobias because I've had like so many like so much like anxiety and like nervousness and like shyness and like so much to overcome. So like probably my whole life, like I'm always like trying to like face that fear. And it's hard because like if you're a nervous like person with all this anxiety problems, like it's really hard. But it's cool like when you do it. When you conquer it, like do like the process of conquering fear is like horrifically difficult, but like conquering it is like so empowering. But like for example, when I say anger is like stronger than fear and like anger is a good way to conquer fear. Um like I used to be afraid to talk in front of a group. Like I probably still am now, but like not at all nearly like panic attack level where I was before. Like I could never pass speech class in college because like you have to stand in front of like 20 people and talk and like that's too much, right?
Yeah, I'm not a
So
fan of that either.
yeah, so but like whenever Occupy LA in their planning stages. They started in October 1st, 2011. So in like around September 21st is when they had their first, maybe it was the 23rd of September in 2012. They had like their first meeting in person at Pershing Square in LA. So I was there at all of the planning meetings, and there's one of the planning meetings where they were going to vote on should they pay for Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi was for their live streaming. So I wasn't even like a live streamer, and like that wasn't even a possibility in my head at that time, right? But because I had been watching live stream from New York, Occupy Wall Street, I just felt like live streaming is for safety. And I still to this day think live streaming, like the primary reason is for like safety. Because I
Yeah,
feel like if the more people know what really happened, like the safer you're going to be. And also it kind of hopefully sometimes keeps the police in check. Now I'm going in different tangents, but the
yeah,
fear, like overcoming fear. So there was this union guy who I never like could stand because he was like one of these power people and like big like leaders and manipulators and like
yeah,
very like masculine patriarchal kind of person. And so he decides he's gonna politic the issue, right? So he gets up at the GA and he's like, no, we can't have Wi-Fi because we need porta potties. And like in my head, I'm going, what the fuck? Like, how come you can have both? Like, the Occupy movement, I think because of like all the live streaming the video from New York, like it spread like wildflower fire. Like at that time, like every city was planning an Occupy. They were all like in the planning stages. So I'm like, this is so much public support for this. Like this is like ridiculous, and that man is being manipulative and narcissistic and like evil to say you can't have
yeah.
Wi-Fi because we need porta potties. So I was so pissed off because like not just that this man wants porta potties, but like the way he's manipulating that and the way he's using like hierarchy and power and like all this ugliness to like twist people's arms to get what he wants.
Do you get a lot of that being a woman live streamer? Like trouble from male live streamers or looking down on you or anything? Cause I
Um,
never thought of that before. I just thought live streamers are live streamers.
I would say, like, as far as like in the activism community, like all the live streamers kind of networked together and like really worked as a team.
That's good.
And I was part of that, and we had like these voice chats that we would have like every week, and so we would talk about different like issues that we had. Um,
Yeah,
but anyway, like really quickly, so when that man pissed me off, like I got on Stack in the GA and I spoke at the GA, and like I was not afraid. Like I spoke and I stated my case for why we needed like Wi-Fi and how we could have both. And like I was not scared. Like I stood in front of all those people and everybody's eyes are looking at me, and like I'm not even thinking about that they're all staring at me, I'm not thinking about that. I'm not thinking about what they're thinking about me. I'm not like nervous. I'm not scared. I'm pissed. And like that was it. I never had that anxiety to that extent again. So like now, I could stand in front of people and talk.
that's
Probably.
awesome.
I mean, I might get a little nervous, but that's like you have to face your fear.
Yeah,
And that's the only way to make it go away. If you're avoiding your fear, it's just gonna get worse.
that's true. So yeah, I
But
guess
what were you saying before in the middle of that?
what was relevant to what you were saying, I was asking if you run into a lot of that as a woman in activism or journalism, people trying to
Oh,
step over you.
nah.
That's good because nobody should. But I mean, I've heard stories like that from other activists or
Well, I
whatnot.
mean, there's some live streamers who are like, oh, there's only 20 people watching. I'm not going to do this because they're like, I want to be famous. Like, those guys don't last. They just quit because it's not like this wonderful, glorious thing.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't think I know any live streamers that are really well. I mean, I don't know a lot of live streamers, but the ones I know aren't really rich people.
No, and they don't have big egos and like they're not assholes. They're like, this is really like a service. Like, it's really like a lot of giving and not much taking. So it's kind of a selfless act, kind of.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you are
But
protecting
it's,
yourself, but you're protecting yourself because you have to protect yourself because you're out there protecting the people, right?
yeah, yeah, but you're not gonna get like any cookies for it.
No, of course. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't ever. I know a lot of people do that. I don't look at anything like. I don't really care about followers or views or anything. The Nazis who troll me seem to really
I
think.
care about like that. I care about that. More people should be like looking at your work because, um, as far as like followers and views, like I think that's important, but it's not about ego. It's about because like none of my work is about me. All of my work is about like the action, and the action is important, and people need to see it, and people need to know like what's going on in the world, and this is the news, and people need to like see the news. So like to me, like the views are important,
Yeah,
and I think more people should be seeing your work too because like your work is important, and you're doing good work, and it's awesome, and people should see it.
well, thank you. But yeah, but the point I was making was like you didn't always have a lot of views. I'm sure at the beginning you didn't, but you didn't stop because the views weren't that important. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean for
as
me,
important as
views
they
like
were, there was other stuff
for
more
me,
important.
like views depended on what happened because like the second thing I live streamed had like 25,000 viewers or something. Like
Oh,
the
I
second
see.
time I live streamed, but that was because of the action. That's because of what was happening, and it was a big thing and it was important. But like if I was live streaming like at the Occupy ICE LA camp and like people are just like playing drums or something, like oh there's no like um violence or anything, like the police aren't beating the shit out of anybody, nobody wants to watch, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's why I don't release most of my police videos, and the ones I release are just meant to encourage people to film the police. You know, that's my goal is to encourage everyone to be out there with a camera up in their face so they can't get away with anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's in the chat seems to be really into the subversive chalk thing. Oh man. So, you anything else you want to go over before we end? Oh,
I'm sure there's a million things.
you keep saying that.
I know, maybe I should have made notes or something.
Let's go. I mean, you're always welcome on here if you want, ever, anytime. We can do a part two or whatever. But
For sure, it's always fun talking to you.
yeah, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I learned a lot. I'm sure the listeners who listen and will be listening in the future will learn a lot too. So yeah, we appreciate what you do out here. You, like I said before, you've been holding LA down for years and years and years,
And
and it's
I'm
appreciated.
always like I think it's awesome like that you and maybe some other people like have been inspired to like start live streaming and like to be out there filming the cops, and like it's so accessible now and it's so easy now because we have so many apps that are so easy, like Facebook live stream, Twitter live stream, YouTube live stream. There's just so many choices. And I don't know. I haven't even decided like which one I'm going to stick with at right now at this point. But I've always said like I really hope like years ago I used to say I wish everyone would live stream, And like kind of my wishes kind of come true. And that's so awesome. And
That is. You're
yeah,
yeah, like I said, there's like people like you are inspiration to others like me and others that will come that watch
yeah.
your
And
stuff and
a lot of live streamers burn out. Like I even like stopped for like 6 months, and I kind of not feeling it like I used to. It's good like for more people to like start doing it.
pick up the torch and keep it going.
Because like because there is like a lot of because when you're filming the police so much, like it kind of wears down on your soul, kind of. And I mean, I've seen like so many horrible things, and it kind of like psychologically fucks you up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to see people getting abused for no reason
And like, yeah, and getting hurt, like seriously hurt by the cops, and they didn't do anything.
and charged with crazy charges.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've seen people charged with the most ridiculous stuff, and it's just so sad because they try to take people's lives as much as they can to destroy
And
and
cops
hurt them.
don't get it, like why I get so like nervous or scared or angry or pissed. Like they don't get it.
The police, and they'll never get it. They'll never get it. What do you have coming up in the near future? Anything? I know you're doing the police meetings.
Yeah, I really want to go tomorrow at 9 o'clock. There's going to be a special meeting of the police commission. I think it's going to be in City Hall at 9 o'clock in the morning. Stop LAPD Spying Coalition is going to do a presentation. I'm not exactly sure what their presentation is going to be on, but their presentations are always so good. They're so knowledgeable about surveillance and how the LAPD is surveilling us and how the LAPD surveillance like helps ICE, and like LAPD can say, "Oh, we don't cooperate with ICE," but they actually do because all of their all of their surveillance goes into I'm blanking out on all the words, but there's the big buildings with all the computers and the
It goes into
everything
a
is
database
connected.
shared by ICE, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
I know the words, but like I'm totally blanking out on them. But yeah, it's all shared. It's freely shared. So DHS has like all of LAPD's information and the FBI and like all of the agencies are connected in these big buildings,
Yeah, that's
in these
ridiculous.
computers. And like everything you did, and like when they have those scanners that scan your license plate, they know where your car was at all times. I'm sure they know where your phone is at all times.
Yeah, they said they can do what is it, 1,000 or 500 at a time. Like that license
Oh,
plate scanner can like gather that information that fast.
it's
Like it,
scary.
yeah. I
And
think
then your car was on that street where the prostitutes work, so therefore you did that.
now you're a pimp.
Yeah, because you couldn't find parking.
Oh man. Yeah, that's. I think it's just weird, but they use it now because they could find out who. Like the police just use it right now, as far as I know, to find out who has warrants or who's in front of them that has something wrong with their car or something they could pull them over for and be able to search them and give them some charges, get their arrest quotas, ticket quotas. It goes from there all the way up. But somebody's taking that information and using it for something even more sinister than the police.
Yeah, but those police commission meetings, they're on Tuesday at 9:30 in the morning. It's really hard for anybody to go on Tuesday morning at 9:30. Find parking, like go through rush hour traffic, find parking, pay for parking, like be there at that time of day. It's so inaccessible. It's set up that way because they don't want you to go.
That's crazy. So yeah, I think I'm trying to read the chat real quick. Excellent show, thank you, PM Beers.
Anytime.
Fusion centers are the operative
That's the word.
connectors. Yeah, there you
That's the
go.
word.
Fusion centers. And license plate readers are relatively new intelligence, I guess. Yes, it is scary, Stuart. Very scary. But fuck them. Stuart doesn't have to deal with our license plate scanners. He's in the UK, so he has to deal with theirs.
Yeah, it's probably pretty bad there too.
Yeah, it's bad everywhere. So yeah, thank you so much for doing this today. Like I said,
But
it's awesome.
thanks you for all your awesome work.
And I'm sure a lot of people, including me, like I said before, learned a lot today. And the next show to everybody listening is going to be with um, probably Scotty. He's not in here anymore. He had to go to his meeting, but probably Scotty. If not, the Earth Arrow Band is another one I'm trying to get hold of to do something with.
Oh, they're cool.
Yeah, they're awesome. But yeah, so we'll have a couple more shows coming up, and then every Friday at 2, we're here with the People's Weekly. So thanks for listening, you guys, and thank you again, PM Beers.
Thank you.